concentrated form of tafsir.
Tafsir.
Any tafsir you hear means tafsir. So this was a special title given to somebody who was comprehensively competent to make tafsir. Because he had taught all the allied sciences of Islam, completed everything, and then would go and spend time with a mufassir, with somebody who interpret, and the person would interpret the Quran for him from A to Z. Again, despite the fact that his level of education would have qualified him to sit down for tafsir, but they will not do that. They will go and listen to the tafsir again from A to Z. Then now they are competent to make tafsir. And
but that was then. But now it's like it's so rampant in so many places. So many people are doing this tafsir.
And that is my fear. That is my fear.
Exactly.
Al-Quran al-Karim should not be recited wrongly.
Maybe some are not even competent.
And I tell you, it carries implications for anybody to recite the Quran wrongly, particularly to give a wrong interpretation.
That's right.
Because there are what they call asbab nuzul. Most of the verses of the whole Quran were revealed as a result of a particular incident. You must be able to relate to the incident. And there are principles of teaching you how to relate to that incident. And there are also principles teaching you how to make an analogy, how to extend these principles, which were revealed for a particular event, how to extend them and apply them in a given issue of the modern time. You must know those principles. If you don't know those principles, you are not qualified.
It will be very difficult to do tafsir.
That is very important. So maybe because of the importance that Muslim communities have been giving to tafsir, people now it becomes so much familiar to us that to have tafsir session in the month of Ramadan is a matter of must.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. There are, in fact, for many of us, instead of having tafsir session, they better have fiqh sessions. They better sit in the mosque, and they sit in the bantaba or at home and teach people about the teachings of religion, generally, about the teachings of Islam, how to pray, the rules of prayer, the rules of fasting, rules of marriage, the transactions, and so on and so forth. Because these are easily available. Anybody who go and learn will be easily, if you understand them well, you can easily teach people about them. It is not the Quran. So in other words, it's easier to qualify it as a teacher in terms of the principles of Islam than to qualify as somebody who should make tafsir. It is a very, very difficult qualification. And I don't see why why one would just go after the material. There are material benefit. It's part of the tradition of Muslims that when you have your session, you make the tafsir at the end of the month or at the end of the day or at the end of the week of Ramadan. People make at least good Muslims, and it's also good for them. It's a good tradition. They collect give to the Mufassir. Because the Mufassir,
motivation.
Exactly. He is doing it for the sake of God alone. So there's no harm. And in fact, it's a good tradition that people honor him. But this honor, this is just very symbolic. The reward that you gain out of it, if you do it properly, cannot be compared with this material benefit.
Exactly. So Allah's reward is better.
You understand? So one should run not after the material benefit, but Allah's reward. So let's prioritize. Let's make Allah's reward our basic priority. And because we are running to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and for us to be rewarded by God, we must be very careful. We make sure that when we sit down to make tafsir, we're doing it the right way. And like I show you, there is no way that one can do it the right way without going through the process that I have explained.
It's a long process.
Even today in modern Islamic universities, in Medina or in Cairo or anywhere else, in Sudan, in modern Islamic universities, there are special programs, departments dealing only with tafsir. And the people who would be qualified to explain the Quran or to be doing tafsir, they go and join those faculties and departments. And they are educated in 4 years, sometimes in 6, sometimes even 10 years before they become competent authority in making tafsir. And those are the people who can sit down and make tafsir for people to benefit. You understand? Because you must benefit people first. Benefit Islam first. Seek Allah's blessings, invoke Allah's blessings. Then after all these fundamental issues, after all these fundamental aspects of it, the trivial aspect, that is the material benefit, will follow. And you will enjoy it too. You understand? But if you give priority to the material benefit, it will be very unfortunate to see to it that if one is not careful, one may end up, how to call it, encoding Allah's punishment. May God forbid. But that is how it should be. It is a very good idea, but those of us that know that are not qualified to make tafsir, we are not competent because we do not know any of the Islamic sciences. And one of the most unfortunate phenomena of the modern time, Aisha, is that there are so many muftis. You understand? Knowledge of the linguistic sciences become a fundamental requirement before you can become a mufassir. Knowledge of the legal sciences too. Sharia, that's the law, the science of sources, which is also referred to as science of method. You must understand the legal sciences, the science of method. You must understand also logic. You must understand morphology. You must understand how do you call it, philosophy, theology.
The knowledge has to be very comprehensive.
You understand. Also, one must have a comprehensive knowledge of Islamic theology, law, theology, the social sciences, the sciences, and the natural sciences of Islam. So if you understand all these aspects of it, then you become a qualified mufassir. So if one is knowledgeable in all the sciences except the natural sciences, maybe he can address himself only to the legal aspect of it. Because sometimes you come across tafsir books which only capitalize on the legal sciences, or the legal verses of the Holy Quran, like Tafsir al-Qurtubi, which capitalizes, which focuses mainly on the legal aspects of the Holy Quran. So if you have not gone through this process, but simply because you are able to speak the Arabic language and you understand the sentences and the constructions or the ayat on the face of the construction, for God's sake,
you will not be deemed competent to do it. Yeah, definitely.
Particularly those of us that have to go through transliteration. For God's sake, anybody who can only read the Quran through transliteration, you are not a competent mufassir. If you want to serve the cause of Islam, if you want to benefit the ummah and yourself too, if you want to save yourself from the torment of hellfire, for God's sake, go and teach people other areas in Islam, the fiqh or the law, the transactions, marriage, prayers, and so on and so forth.
And focus on this area. That is very clear. Okay, Doctor, Laylatul Qadri, or the Night of Power, is in this blessed month, and it's better than 1,000 months. It is stated in the Quran in Suratul Qadri, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna anzalnahu fi Laylatul Qadri, wa ma adraka ma Laylatul Qadri. Laylatul Qadri khayrun min alfi shahri. And during this particular night, people give out charity, read the Quran, attend religious gatherings. And then there was a time that they said, Aisha radiallahu anha once asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that what were Muslims supposed to do on this particular night, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam responded by saying, Allahumma innaka hafuwun tuhibul afwa fa'fu inni. That is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you are looking for somebody to forgive, please forgive me. So apart from this recitation, what is expected of Muslims to do on this particular night? What should Muslims be immersed in?
Yes, you are quite right, because Laylatul Qadr is one of the special privileges of the month of Ramadan. One of the distinct how to call it, features of Ramadan. Ramadan becomes unique and distinct from other months for various reasons, and one of them is Laylatul Qadr. And you rightly mentioned khayr min alf shahr. One act of ibadah, one act of worship, one act of good deed, any good deed that one is able to do on that particular night would be more valuable than spending a period of 82 years or 3 years in making worship. So that is why this eye on afu, on forgiveness, this tradition becomes important, because man is by nature sinner. Man is always committing mistakes and wrong. So that is why it is good for mankind to be able to be continuously seeking Allah's forgiveness, particularly on that particular night. But of course, in addition to now addressing your question directly, in addition to this formula of dua, you can do so many things. You can spend the whole day making nawafil, praying, salat, praying. You can pray optional prayers, 100 rakat, 200, it's up the whole night. You can spend the whole night praying. You can spend the whole night reciting the Holy Quran. The Holy Quran. You can also spend the whole night teaching, talking to people, to Muslims, about the virtues of Islam, about the virtues of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the history and the
biography. What happens during some religious gatherings? Some do organize some gatherings, bring people together, and then tell them about the night itself, how important it is.
Exactly. And you know, because Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has set the example for us. So that is why it is always good and important for us to be remembering his pattern of life, his behavior, his moral values.
He's a role model.
It's just being a role model, so that people can remember.
The embodiment of all the good virtues that we have in this world.
Yes, exactly. So that is another way of let's say, making the best use of Laylatul Qadr. You understand? Recitation of the Quran, like I said, teaching, whatever good deed that you can do, or if you live in a place whereby you know that there are people living elsewhere or far away from you, and there's nobody to take care of them. So to travel a long distance overnight to take care of them